3 different tips on how to build muscle in our upper bodies, especially as we get older. Hi guys, I'm Mark McKilley with Live Anabolic, and today I want to talk to you about how to build upper body muscle, especially as we get older, over 50, over 40. It gets tougher and tougher, guys, trust me. I'm 60 years old, so I feel your pain. So there's some basic principles you guys need to know about, and you need to follow, and you need to be consistent with. Otherwise, it's going to be nearly impossible to put on muscle, especially as we get older. So let me just get into it. We'll start off with tip number 1. And guys, that is volume and intensity. So I see a lot of guys not putting enough effort into their workouts, all right? You know, you're doing the exercises, you're using good form, and you did build some muscle, but then you kind of plateaued and you're not really happy with your progress. So the volume and intensity, that combination combined, is super critical. So let me just kind of start off real quick with some of the concepts that I incorporated into my Fit After 50 program, because you don't want too much, but there's also a problem with getting too little, okay? So I would say the majority of you guys watching right now, probably 80 to 90% of you guys, are doing too little, all right? You're not putting enough intensity into your workouts. You're not doing enough volume. And what I mean by volume is you're either not doing enough sets, and you're not doing the exercises often enough per week. So volume is kind of this term that can mean several different things, and that's why I want to spend a fair amount of time on this very first tip, okay? And so volume is a combination of how many sets you do per muscle group, okay? And that can be over the course of just that one day, that one workout, or it can be considered over the course of a week, all right? So typically, I like to think of it over the course of a week. So my Fit After 50 program was designed to kind of slowly work everybody into getting back into shape, all right? And so my phase 1 of my plan has relatively low volume, but I have you do each muscle group 3 times a week. So how can that be? That sounds contradictory, right? How can you hit each muscle on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and consider that low volume? And that is because I'm having you do very, very few sets on each muscle group during each workout, all right? And because of that, and because of the fact that I tell you in my instructions, don't kill yourself. Keep the intensity level, relatively low, okay? Don't go to failure. Don't even go close to failure on each set. I'm able to have you guys working out the same muscles 3 times in only 1 week without overtraining, okay? But that's also to kind of help spur and increase your metabolism, start the kind of the fat loss, going, because it's going to get you into shape for phase 2. Now in phase 2, I only have you hit each muscle group once a week. So I went from 3 times a week down all the way down to once a week. Well, guess what? That's because I upped the volume significantly for each muscle group. All right, so each workout where you're hitting a muscle, you're doing way more sets for that muscle group than you were in phase 1, and hence the need to only do it once a week to give your body time to repair those muscle fibers, because still, you're still beginning when you're in phase 2, all right? Your body needs a lot of rest, all right? Then when you move on to phase 3, I have you hit each muscle group twice a week, all right? So now your body's starting to get adapted to basically lifting weights, all right? It's starting to get smart. It's starting to repair those muscle fibers more, quicker, and hence you can push yourself harder. So in phase 3, you're working out each muscle group twice a week, and I've upped the volume, okay? So I've upped the intensity, all right, on that deal. But I'm not having you do crazy high volume, because once again, you're hitting them twice a week now. But in phase 3, I up the intensity. So, this volume intensity thing, is a careful balance. You don't want to overdo it, all right? But you also don't want to underdo it. And when you're underdoing it, that's typically the reason why you're not building the muscles in your upper body enough. And so, you know, this video is really not a plug for my workout program per se, but you guys who are out there just trying to kind of wing it and come up with your own workouts, and you know, oh, I like this exercise and I like that exercise, and you know, I'll figure it out. It's probably not the best way to go. You need to follow a well thought out, professionally designed program. I promise it'll help you, you know, with the muscle building a whole lot more than just kind of winging it yourself. So tip number one was this long kind of catch-all, all right, idea, and that is the idea of volume and intensity. And most of you guys are erring on the lower side. You're not putting enough volume and intensity into your workouts. Tip number two is the easiest one. All right, everybody likes easy tips, right? And that is, guys, you got to try a supplement. You won't know if this supplement is going to help you unless you try it, okay? And, you know I'm biased, but I really believe in the stuff that we sell. Anabolic Reload is on our website. Click the link below. And I would rather you guys read up about it because I can't remember all the ingredients in here. All right, but we have a lot of different ingredients, and our website explains not only what they are, but why they're there, okay? And guys, Anabolic Reload is a natural testosterone booster, all right? And so the reason why I want you guys to try that is because obviously you're like me. If you're watching these videos, you know, you're getting a little older, and that just means by default, your body is naturally producing way less testosterone than it did when you were in your 20s. And there's lots of different, you know, things that manifest when that happens. And so guys, one of the things is it makes it so much harder to build muscle when your testosterone levels are lower, okay, than where they should be. And so guys, if you can just take a pill once a day and boost your body's natural production of testosterone, that means you will absolutely build more muscle doing the exact same workouts, eating the exact same nutrition as you would versus lower testosterone levels. That's just how it works, guys. So some of you guys already have really great testosterone levels. Matter of fact, there's no way to up your body's production, all right? So some of you guys who try this, it won't work for you. And that's okay, just let us know. We'll refund your money. We have a fantastic guarantee, by far the best in the industry. But for a lot of you guys, you're gonna see fantastic results. And not just see them, you're gonna feel them. Check out, when you click on this link below, when it takes you to, you know, our supplement, Anabolic Reload, scroll all the way down below all the description stuff and just read some of the reviews, guys. So it's not just about building muscle. I mean, it's about your energy levels. It's about your libido. It's about all kinds of other things, the ability to focus, you know. And so if you've never tried taking a supplement that's designed specifically for boosting testosterone in older men, then you just are basically wasting a potentially super simple way to build muscle. Okay, and finally, the last one, tip number three, and that is most of you guys don't eat enough protein. That's the hardest thing for me to do in my daily nutrition is get enough protein in on my daily intake. So why do we need to eat more protein and how much? All right, well, the reason you need more protein is because your body uses it and breaks it down into amino acids, and your body uses those amino acids to repair all those damaged muscle fibers that we create when we work out really hard. You know, we're back up to tip number one, the volume and intensity. So if you're doing everything right with your workouts, then that means you are intentionally creating millions and millions of tiny microscopic tears in your muscle fibers. I mean, you're damaging your muscles, right? And so your body doesn't just repair those out of thin air. It needs nutritional sources to repair the damaged muscle fibers, and that's protein. So your body uses carbohydrates and fat as energy sources for the muscles to contract, all right, to lift the weight, to run, all right? But it uses protein as a way to repair them, to build them up. And then, of course, you know, you break them down, you build them up, you break them down, you build them up. You do this day after day, month after month, and your body slightly overcompensates every time it does this, just a tiny bit. Well, that's why your muscles get bigger and stronger, because your body's pretty darn smart, okay? You're throwing all this stress at it, you're tearing down the muscles, and if you're eating enough protein, then you're getting the full benefit of your workouts. So guys, if you're kicking ass on your workouts, all right, but you're only getting half the protein that your body really needs, then you're losing this potential benefit here. So don't you want 100% bang for your buck from your workouts? Because that's tough. You know, if you're killing yourself, you want to see the best results possible. And you're gonna lose out on a ton of results if you're not getting enough protein. And I'm not just talking about, you know, 3 days a week. You need to be very consistent, because your body is constantly repairing those muscle fibers. Remember, you know, you do a crazy hard chest workout on Monday, let's say. Well, your body doesn't fully repair those chest muscles on Tuesday. All right. The harder you hit your chest, the more muscle fibers you damage, the longer it takes. A lot of times it'll take 3, 4, 5 days to fully repair those muscle fibers. So if you're not getting protein throughout that entire period of recovery, then you're losing out on a lot of benefits. Now, one of the other benefits of getting enough protein into your daily diet is protein just naturally makes you feel satiated, makes you feel full. All right. So if you feel full, then of course that leads to you're eating fewer carbohydrates. And typically, for me at least, and probably for you too, that's processed carbohydrates. All right. And those are the worst things you can eat. All right. So if you're eating veggies and fruits and stuff like that, those are whole food carbohydrates. Those are wonderful for you. But a lot of us are eating processed foods. And if you're full, you avoid that. Now, what happens is you eat less of the crappy stuff. You start to lose fat at the same time you're putting on muscle. All right. And then if you're taking the supplement, the testosterone booster, that's a double whammy, because most of you guys don't realize that testosterone doesn't just help you put on muscle. Higher T levels, okay, also help your body to use fat stores as a source of energy, which means your body is more efficient at burning off fat. All right. And so not only are you building muscle, but you're losing fat. And guess what happens? All right. You look like this. Now that is a picture of me when I did a contest about 10 years ago. And I looked not just really muscular, I looked bigger. I looked like my muscles were a lot bigger than before I did my diet. Now, I had to do a crazy hard diet to get in this kind of shape to walk on stage. But my point is, that is the least amount I've ever weighed, all right, since high school when I walked on that stage. But I looked really big, all right, even though I really weighed a whole lot less. And all you're doing when you're losing the fat, okay, is you're showing off your muscles. And then you can see the definitions between the muscles. Instead of this just soft blob looking thing, you can actually see individual muscle groups, individual muscle fibers. And when that happens, you look way more muscular. So it looks like you put on more upper body muscle, even though you might have just maintained the same muscle mass, but you've just dropped a ton of fat that was hiding those muscles. So protein helps with that. Higher testosterone helps with that. So how much protein do you need to eat? Now I've shot some other videos. So use the search bar in our YouTube channel here to search for those. But most of you guys probably need about 0.7 of a gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you multiply that by 0.7, that gives you 140 grams of protein. All right. For the guys that are super serious and really trying to build muscle, especially the younger guys that are trying to get into these bodybuilding contests, they actually shoot for 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you'd need roughly 200 grams of protein. Now that's not an exact science, guys. That ratio there, everybody's got a slightly different take on it, but there is no perfect mathematical formula for the perfect amount of protein for your intake. The key is, guys, track it for a day or two, just so you get a feel for how much you're naturally taking in on a typical day, all right? And that way, you can compare it to the numbers I just gave you to see if you're even close to getting enough protein. Because that is really important, guys. If you're not even close, then you're leaving a ton of results. You're leaving a lot of muscle on the table, okay? So why kill yourself in your workouts if you're not even getting close to enough protein for your body to repair those damaged muscle fibers? Okay, so guys, 3 different tips on how to build muscle in our upper bodies, especially as we get older. It's way more difficult than it was when you were, 25 years old. But the deal is, if you follow these tips religiously, day in, day out, month after month, I promise you're going to see a huge change in your body, okay? And especially your upper body, because that's probably the easiest place for most men to build muscle is from the waist up. So if you do everything right, then you're going to see gigantic results, but it's not going to happen overnight. You got to stick with it and never give up on yourself.